Hello everybody, it's Emery, and I'm here with another Windowfarm video update. This is a few weeks into the process, I guess, so I thought I'd make another video and kind of let you know where things are going and a few changes I might have made. So kind of just winging it. I haven't really planned anything out, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's take a look at the Windowfarm setup. Okay, and there is one of the columns. You can see we got a plant growing quite well here. It's coming out of this lower bin, and this one has two plant bins, large plant bins, and a tank underneath. So I'm growing some cherry tomato over here, and actually I have two cherry tomato plants growing indoors right now. This one was transplanted from outside though, so its size now is not a representation of how big a plant can grow in the first few weeks of a Windowfarm experiment, because it was already growing long before I moved inside. But one thing you'll notice is I changed around some of my arrangement, especially with the dirt and stuff. I mentioned that I did some layers of larger rocks and then fine gravel on top. But on one of the other videos I took, I originally had these marbles down in the base as drainage, but then I switched to the rocks. Instead, I'm putting the marbles on top of larger plants that have a large plant structure outside of the root ball, as to act as some additional anchorage. You'll notice another thing here is that I did not paint the bottom of my bottles like Windowfarms recommends. I'm not sure if I'm going to go ahead and do that or not, but I kind of like being able to see just how much these roots have developed just from transplanting it. This was a transplanted plant. It came from outside and had a relatively small root ball, but now, I mean, you can see it's going way down into the neck of the bottle, and may eventually come down into the tank bottle eventually. And now here you can see the airlift pipe. And it's going up into the top, of course. And here, if I can move around the light without burning myself, up at the top bottle, you can see that I've come pretty far on the broccoli. In Japan, I don't know if you have these in the rest of the United States or in other parts of the world, but in Japan we have some round discs that you can get that have seeds already in them and nutrients in them, and you basically just set the disc into a bowl of water until it gets saturated, and throw it down into a planter, and it's good to go. So it makes it really, really easy to try out a few things without buying huge packets of seeds and not really being sure, how deep to stick it into the ground or into the dirt or whatever. It's a good way to get started without really knowing a whole lot. Okay, looking at my other tower, you can see the basil plant has grown quite a bit since the last time, at least a good 2 inches or so. It's sticking well above the top of the bottle. And another thing you might notice is that I've cut down some of the blue netting a little bit. It was getting a little crazy, a little too big to get around, so I just chopped it out before my plants got any bigger. You can see the parsley. Now these ones I just randomly scattered some seeds into the bucket or into the dirt in the bottle, and you can see they're growing out pretty well just in the last couple of weeks. And down below, the yellow cherry tomatoes, and there's 4 plants coming out of this bin. 2 were in the disc, and 2 more must have fallen out of the disc when water was dropping into the disc. It was splashing around a bit, so I must have lost a couple of seeds, which have grown out to the outside of the disc, but still into the dirt. It worked pretty well, so we'll see how it goes. And you can see some of the roots have already started to dig down into the bottom. a little bit hard to see in the video, but there are a few roots way down in here, so I expect these plants will all get pretty big. Okay, so one thing I did change, let me move myself over here, is that rather than running off of the single pump, the air pump, I added a slightly smaller air pump. I was just kind of trying out different pumps to see which one would be the most effective for like building a kit or a starter. And this No Noise S100 from Tokyo Hands is about 1,000 yen, but I really wouldn't recommend it. It's just a little bit underpowered. It's running the first tower that I showed you. On occasion I have to tap the tube to get it to start running, so it's not 100% reliable. It doesn't have quite enough air pressure. The second one, maybe you can, well, it's hard to read the label here, but it's an SSPP7S. I'm not really sure what the brand is, but I'll post the brand later. It's a good starter pump for 1, possibly 2 towers of Windowfarm, but they shouldn't be more than 1 meter tall each. But after 2, I think you're kind of going to run out as well. So if you're not sure if you want to do it, it's good to start off with a $15 pump. This one was 1,500 yen or so from Tokyo Hands. And, you know, give it a try, see how it goes. But if you really get into the hobby, I realize now I'm going to have to buy a much larger air pump because, well, to be honest, I'm starting to get crazy with it. As you can see, my next tower is going to be kind of tall. So I absolutely need a much larger air pump. Alright, well, hope everyone else is enjoying your window farming, and I'll do another update in a few months, see how it goes. Bye!